There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.
Hi there, and welcome to this Valley News Now weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER-DAMAGE of North Dakota. I'm meteorologist Lisa Green here with a look at what we can expect for today and the week ahead. So we have some snow that's hitting today, and some of us impacted, not everybody though. And then as we work our way through the week, we've got some warmth coming our way. It's been a minute since we've seen it, so we're going to talk about that coming up. And in addition to that, we're going to take a look at what we can expect as we head into the next month. Now, you probably heard it's Groundhog Day, so let's talk about it. Groundhog Day, of course, the weather lore with that is that if the groundhog sees his shadow, when he arrives or he climbs out of his den, I think that's what they sleep in, correct me if I'm wrong, and from hibernation, that if the groundhog sees his shadow, that shadow scares him, and so he runs back in and hides for another 6 weeks, meaning that winter continues for another 6 weeks. Now, if he does not see his shadow, then that means that he stays out and we've got an early spring. So that's the lore with it. We know that's not how forecasting works, but it's fun to imagine that we can get some predictions. And there are certain things in nature where actually animals can tell us some things about the coming weather. So that's another topic for another day. But let's get into Groundhog Day here. We are looking at conditions that are, well, potentially more 6 weeks of winter. And that's because Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow. And Fargo Phil would not have seen his shadow because we do have some overcast skies here. But we know in the upper Midwest that we always pretty much have 6 more weeks of winter. It's just the nature of our climate. So not surprising there at all that we can expect that. So a little bit of fun there today as we're looking ahead into at least the next month or so. Let's take a look at what climate signals are showing us here. So this is from the Climate Prediction Center. You can see that big warm area in the middle of the country across the plains. Areas in orange, and the deeper the orange indicating that we have chances of being likely above average for us. So that's in the next 8 to 14 days. And so you can see next week essentially is what we're looking at being above average, and we do expect that. But a reminder, average is just, and above or below average really is that comparison to our average temperatures. So averages this time of year are in the teens to low 20s for our highs. That's winter. So even if we're well above that, it doesn't suddenly mean we're in 70-degree or 80-degree tropical weather or anything like that. It's just milder than we on average are this time of year, if we see that. And it is looking more likely, again, that we've got some warming weather coming our way in this first part of the month of February. But let's take a look at the month overall. Our latest info from the Climate Prediction Center shows us more into the blue range, on the very light blue, indicating not necessarily as solid leanings toward below average, but still more likely below average for the entire month overall. We'll zoom in on our area here in the Red River Valley. So leaning below average to close to average for this time of year. So what does that mean? So again, average highs are in the teens to start off the month of February, 19 to be exact for Fargo. Average low is 0. Our average high by the end of the month is 28 on the 28th, and our average low is 10. So if we're running slightly below that for the month, more teens and 20s essentially coming up here. That would be the case if we kept temperatures around average every single day. But a reminder, averages can be an average of, just kind of steady temperatures, or an average of extremes. And that's exactly what we saw in the month of January. It was a tale of two parts of the month. We were so warm that first half of the month, running a good 9+ degrees above average in Fargo. And then we ended the month well below average. And so that averages out. So I want to talk about that here. We're going to take oh goodness, I should have written January climate recap. I forgot to update that from the previous month. So ignore that here. Let's do this. We'll go ahead and show you, play this out here for a second. And I'll try to write it out. This is probably going to look bad, but we're going to do it. Not January, or not December, but January. And we have an arrow here. My artistry skills are not great, but why not? Okay. January climate recap for Fargo. So we ended up, at least preliminary data, and once we get the final numbers out, we'll share those. But for Fargo, we ended up average temperature at 8.3. So that was a little bit, just about a degree below average. So again, that's pretty close to average. So we ended up closer to average from an extreme warm half of the month to an extreme cold half of the month. Our warmest high in Fargo was 40. Our lowest low was 20 below. So pretty low. And it was fairly dry for the month. Our precip was about 0.4 of an inch below average. So we'll have more of that data coming. We'll get Grand Forks in the mix as well. But this was just something I threw together really quick, clearly, because I forgot to change to January. So looking at snowfall, we did see some snow over the course of the weekend as we turned the calendar. Of course, we've had some blowing snow issues during the weekend that caused some travel issues as expected. Unfortunately, that did pan out for drivers who had to deal with that. But we ended up getting about 4.5 inches of snow in East Grand Forks. Fergus Falls had about 4 inches of snow. Grand Forks National Weather Service office reported 2.7 there, and here at the station we had about 2 inches of snow in Fargo, kind of recapping the weekend. This came in on the 1st, so kicking off January with some snow. And one other thing to note, we saw 60 minutes of daylight being gained in the northern half of the valley in January, and about 50 minutes in the southern half of the valley. Check out February. We're gaining 80 minutes of daylight across North Dakota, across the northern half of Minnesota during this month. So we continue to gain daylight as we're heading toward the spring equinox. We're about halfway there, halfway between the solstice and the equinox, and definitely gaining some daylight. So taking a look at our sunrise sunsets for Fargo from February 1st through February 28th. We started, since yesterday was the 1st, with a sunrise around 7:51. I love to see this. As a morning person, love to see this. By February 28th, sunrise is closer to the 7 o'clock hour. So it's going to be nice to be able to see that sun coming up sooner. And then this is nice for the evening as well, of course. We're looking at sunset at 5:30 yesterday, and by the time the month is over, sunset is after 6 p.m. So again, gaining daylight. We gain about 80 minutes of it this month, and currently our rate of gain today is 2 minutes and 48 seconds. So that's something to highlight, Don. It's nice to see those longer days. So right now we do have some overcast skies for the most part. Again, at sunrise, Fargo Phil, not Punxsutawney Phil, would have not seen his shadow here this morning. We are at 8 degrees in Fargo. It's 8 in Grand Forks. We're looking at some sub-zero wind chills still, so it's pretty chilly. You know, we knew we would kind of take a little step back today after that initial surge of warmth from the weekend system, but we do have some warmth ahead, so something to look forward to here. Wind is not a problem for us today. We're looking at wind speeds this morning that are about 5 to 15 miles per hour for most. It's out of the north in most areas, and so still looking at wind that is, or our overall flow that's a little cooler here, which is helping to keep our temperatures down. But you can see we've got some snow showers with the clipper that's driving south and east. And as we take a look at, we'll zoom in a little bit more here. We've got areas of snow from basically down in South Dakota, down along the South Dakota line, back over toward Wheaton showing up there. And then that stretches back over toward Ellendale and up toward near Jamestown. It doesn't look like we're currently seeing any snow in Jamestown. And then stretching back up toward the Devil's Lake area, that potential for snow to be impacting you is there. So I'm looking at some DOT cams. It can be hard to tell with light snow during the daytime on some of these cameras. But yeah, looking out for that possibility for picking up some light snow as we are working our way through the rest of the morning and pushing into the afternoon and evening. We'll be watching for this. I'm just going to look and see if we've got any reports of snow happening from some of our airports. Aberdeen reporting some light snow, and let me zoom out just a little bit more. Aberdeen reporting some light snow. Let's go back. Light snow reported in Grand Forks. We do have some, we've had some residual flurries here this morning, and now we're adding, another round of instability with this next wave into the mix. And I'll just look a little farther west over towards central North Dakota. Okay, no reports coming in, at least from our reporting sites. There's a lot of space in between. So if you've got some snow to report and pass along, I'd appreciate hearing from you. You can comment on our Facebook page. So watching out for this snow. It's going to move it through from, we'll use my beautiful drawing skills yet again. It's going to move through from northwest to southeast here. So that means that areas, up around Grand Forks, I think we will see a chance for snow in Grand Forks actually. So we'll remove that drawing. Okay, let's try that again. It's not matching up with my iPad. I circle something on my iPad and it's showing up differently on our screen here. So anyway, let's just use my pointer. So for Baudette, we're seeing some areas where we're more likely to have some even sunshine today, some quieter weather there, because this is moving from northwest to southeast. So it's going to kind of skim right by some of those northeastern parts of our viewing area. So that was my point I was trying to make. We'll show you that here in our hour-by-hour planner. You can expect to have some snow showers working their way through eastern North Dakota, some isolated to scattered. So this is not uniform snow that's going to hit everyone, but the possibility is there in the west and in the south, essentially throughout the course of the day. Temperatures, we're looking at some single digits to some teens for highs. This is 9 p.m. where I paused it. We're already cooling at that point, and seeing our temperatures dropping below 0. And so those places in the northeast more likely to be into the teens below. And then if you're lucky enough overnight to be under the clouds in the west, you're likely to stay at or above 0 in those locations. So the wind, again, going to not really be as much of a factor here today. So that's great that we're not going to be dealing with the blowing snow factor. But still a little coating of snow could lead to some slick spots that you may have to dodge here. Let's look ahead through Tuesday really quick. Most of the day just mostly cloudy. There is a potential we'll see another little push of some light snow. You can see that moving in heading into Tuesday night. Okay, so focusing in on today, we're watching that snow move through central, eastern North Dakota, the Southern Valley. Anywhere where you see kind of a more transparent area of light blue, that's less than an inch of snow. The more opaque areas, you can see these streaks here, 1 to 2 inches in the light blue, and then there is that 2 to 3 over the Devil's Lake area. So there is that possibility we may see, a couple of places see a couple of rounds of snow pass overhead, and that would add up to a couple of inches. But that's it. And then there's a wide area where we may not get any accumulation at all. So, some of us will have to watch out for this, but not everybody. Okay, let's look ahead into the next 11 days. So today, tomorrow, relatively cool, though warmer than last week in most days. Today we're watching out for the showers that are in the south and west for this afternoon, heading into evening before that moves on. And then it will get cold tonight before we recover tomorrow afternoon, getting into more teens. Maybe even some of us out west hitting 20 or so over in the James River Valley on Tuesday as warmer air starts to move in. And again, I can't rule out another round of some snow showers dropping in Tuesday into the evening hours. And then moving on into Wednesday, that's when we start to get mild. You can see some numbers getting into some 20s by Wednesday. And Thursday, big push of warmth. We're looking at 30s, above freezing, maybe close to 40 on Thursday for some spots. I don't want to say everybody's going to get to that, but we'll be close in some spots. And looking at that chance for a little mix in the north, we kind of come back to reality a little bit toward the end of the week and the weekend, but so far, kind of keeping things mild. There may be some days in the forecast where we're back into the teens, but right now, holding steady with the warm up into this almost first half of February. So again, it's going to be an improvement on the Arctic air that we had to round out the month of January. We're watching for some snow showers. And quick little rounds and bouts of snow that we'll see if we do see some snow chances. But right now, at least in the near future, I'm not seeing any major hits of snow, any major storm systems moving through. Now that could change, but right now it's really focusing in on the warm up on this Groundhog Day, where Phil predicted 6 more weeks of winter. So yes, again, we know we can expect 6 more weeks of winter. It's the beginning of February after all. We know winter can even go beyond that sometimes. So, or many times. So again, it's just fun to talk about it and imagine that we might see an early spring. So looking at, the next couple of days, a little bit cooler. We're watching for a couple of shots of some light snow that could affect your travels. So if you are going to be driving the next couple of days, especially, not just in town, but out in, longer distance, open country areas, make sure you're checking road conditions, checking back with us. You can do that right on the website, valleynewslive.com, and head to the weather page, or right through the VNN weather app. We have access to road conditions there as well. And gear up for some warmer temperatures ahead. It is looking a lot milder for the second half of the week. So I hope you're having a great Monday. You had a good weekend, and we're kicking off February on a much more comfortable note than where we started or we ended the month of January. And we'll have more on recaps on the month and looking ahead into the new month coming up in the coming days throughout this week. So have a great Monday, and again, we'll see you here throughout the day. We'll have more updates coming in from our afternoon and evening crew later on, and you can always check on the website for the latest forecast. This has been your weather update brought to you by 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota. And again, I hope you have a great day.
There's no such thing as a small disaster. So when you call 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota, we come prepared to restore your life back to normal. From burst pipes to unexpected mold discoveries or fire damage, when things couldn't be worse, we come to you with our best. With empathy, local expertise, and a truck full of seriously powerful equipment. 1-800-WATER Damage of North Dakota. Restoring what matters most. 701-670-2022.